Will somebody hear anything about a breakfast that was going to do some?
They're in the firehouse.
Is it okay? Yeah, I thought that's it. Is it good?
Yeah, like French toast and eggs and sausage.
So you
Hey, just walk in on the other side.
okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
it's like $10 a plate.
Got it, there it is. drugs, they just make you feel better.
Welcome back, race fans, to the 2025 Iron Dog. You are live from the Gnome City Garage. What you're seeing is Team 5 right now, Kleinwein and Weiss. They are currently in 12th place with a course time of 38 hours, 42 minutes, 14 seconds. And these guys are doing what many teams did last night, which is their 15-minute off-the-clock inspection. So if you were with us last night, we talked a lot about that, but if you're new this morning, we'll kind of go over a little bit of what that is. When the racers leave Big Lake, the entire time they're on the course and the entire time that they're wrenching and looking at the machine, all has to be on the clock. With the one exception of when they get to Nome, which is this is considered the halfway point. It's a little over halfway now with the Kotzebue loop, but the halfway point, the turnaround point, they are allowed a 15-minute off-the-clock inspection of the machines. So what can they do? Well, primarily, they're trying to diagnose any issues that they're having with the machines. They're trying to check and make sure that things like the track tension is still correct, or does it need to be adjusted? Are all the little systems, around the suspension and the shocks and the A-arms and all of that kind of stuff, what kind of condition are they in? Are things loose? Do the skis need to be replaced? Just all of that kind of stuff. How's the clutch doing? Is it loose? Does it need to be tightened? Just all of those kinds of things around some general maintenance, but also diagnosing any issues that they may have. They are allowed to do a compression test, but other than that, they are not allowed to use any tools to open things up. Anything they take off the machine, they must put it back on the machine by the end of the 15 minutes, or else they'll have to do that work on the clock before they can start their wrench time later today. And so 15 minutes, only the two racers at this point are allowed to touch the machines, but they are allowed a third person to help take notes and record what's going on and what they need to get done. And then they'll take those notes, they'll compile a to-do list, make sure they get all their parts and pieces together. Sometimes we're waiting on morning planes like NAC and Alaskan Airlines to get in, and racers have gold streaked parts. We've also got local shops here, Wilderness Ski-Doo and Morgan's, Polaris, Arctic Cat, and sometimes parts and pieces. And if that fails, sometimes it's the good old-fashioned barter system, where racers will post on local channels or put the word out, hey, I'm looking for this part for this type of machine. And sometimes they'll just buy cash straight off from a local, or they will pay to ship a part back to the local to replace what they've taken. So it's any way you can get the parts that you need, they try to do it. So some of these guys also have chase planes, and the weather's been pretty good, so those chase planes should also be here in Nome. And often those planes carry a lot of the common parts and pieces that someone might need: extra windshield, upper cowling, the skis and sags, and just all that kinds of stuff that are normal wear and tear, especially when you're crossing the Alaska wilderness. So these guys, they get their 15 minutes, and it looks like they're getting pretty close to being finished up here on their machines. But switching back to the rest of the racers, like I was saying, you're going to have kind of a calm period this morning. Most people have done their inspections, but and they're waiting on their parts and pieces. But it seems like as soon as that plane gets in and people have their parts and pieces, this garage will just explode with a fury of maintenance going on. And so these teams will schedule times for the wrenching, and then when it's time to go, the race marshal will say go, because once they actually start wrenching, that is clock time. And so one of the big things to watch this morning is our first place team. As they came into Nome, it seems like they've got some work to do. They had a pretty scary incident coming into Nome last night, there's the safety bridge, and a lot of times you don't go over the bridge, you actually cross the ice. But the way the ice is formed this year with the snow, it's a pretty harsh drop off out there down onto the ice, and then it's almost impossible to get back up off of the ice right there. And so the trail actually goes straight across the bridge this year. And he was coming across that bridge trying to keep his skis in the right spot on the ice, and looked up, hit a snow berm, and for a second he thought he was going to launch off the bridge, which is a pretty scary thought, but he didn't. He landed, crashed a little bit, had some damage, and broken windshield and a few things, but made it on into Nome. They're still technically in first place with a 9-minute lead, but depending on how long it takes them to make those repairs compared to Team 9, who is in second place, or even the other teams, I think Casey and Boylan, Team 14 are up there. And so depending on how kind of wrench times these guys have today, we may not have the same team leaving in first place as when they came into Nome first place. So we got about 5 teams within an hour of each other. And so a lot of great racing to get back to starting tomorrow. NASCAR style wrenching that's going to happen today. The other thing that is unique to the Gnome City Garage is that this is the only time that more than the 2 racers on the race team are allowed to touch the machines to work on them. And so they're allowed 2 other helpers, and those helpers often are other racers from other race teams. And so you'll see a lot of Ski-Doo teams helping each other out. You'll see a lot of Polaris teams helping each other out. And even though there's only 1 Arctic Cat team left, I imagine some of the other racers are in town. Often, even if a team scratches, they'll come on up to Nome and just be around the race and help each other out. And so these guys will probably also have some Arctic Cat help working on their machines. And so I've always thought this was one of the coolest parts of Iron Dog, is that these teams, even though they're competitors, they're going to help each other out here in the garage. And they also help each other out on the trail. If someone's in danger, if there's some kind of safety thing, these guys will make sure that they're safe is the big thing, as safe as possible. And so anyways, lots to come from this morning here in the Gnome City Garage, and as well, you guys getting parts and P of Gnome Garage. Iron Dog 2025. right, race fans, welcome back to the Gnome City Garage for the 2025 Iron Dog Wrench Time. So last night and this morning we've been showing you some of the off-the-clock 15-minute inspection time, but it looks like we've got Team 22 that is getting everything together and getting ready to start their official on-the-clock wrench time. So let's talk a little bit about this. These guys can wrench on their machines anywhere they want to, more or less. A lot of times they'll try to get to the checkpoints to get parts and pieces. But you know, if they stop and try to make repairs, the thing is that only the two racers are allowed to touch the machines everywhere else on the trail. And so Nome is the one location where they are allowed to get two other people to assist them. Oftentimes it's other teams of the same manufacturer, but sometimes it's trusted family members, fathers, cousins, brothers, just whoever's in Nome that they trust. And so so they've gotten their plan together. They had their 15-minute inspection. And then they're laying out like parts and pieces. And one of the tough things here in Nome is space. And so every time there's a team that's going to wrench, they have to move the other machines out of the way. And they want to give each team enough space so that they can turn them over, lift them up, do whatever they need to do. We have giant wood blocks here that sometimes they lift the machines and set them down on the wood blocks to get the skis or track up in the air, depending on what they need to do. They get all the tools put together and lined up and make sure that they have everything that they need. And it's really critical because, you know, if they need a piece of equipment and they don't have it next to their machines ready to go, the clock keeps ticking. They are not allowed to go off the clock. There is a penalty if they say we have to stop working and we want to come back and start working later. That means the second time has to be a minimum of 15 minutes. And so if they've got 3 minutes of work left to do, their choice is to do 15 minutes of work, or they have to wait until they take the green flag down at the ice instead of this nice warm dry garage to complete the work. So it's really critical that everything is together, that not just the two racers, but that the two helpers are in sync with one another. They all know the plan, they know what's going on, and they work the plan. Now, they're not officially allowed a fifth person, but oftentimes they do have someone off to the side with the checklist that's helping call it out, or they'll have it written down. So Team 22 got the go-ahead from the race marshal, and they are now on the clock, wrench time in Nome. A little bit about Team 22. It's Koval and Johnson. They are currently in 18th place with a course time of 50 hours and 26 minutes. These guys have competed in the Iron Dog a couple of times. 2024 for Trent Johnson, but he did not finish. And 2022 and 2023 for Tad Koval. Now, 2022 he did not finish, but in 2023 he became a finisher. So when you finish the Iron Dog is when you technically are no longer considered a rookie. And so you are a rookie until you finish the entire course. And so we've got one rookie and one veteran on this team, although both have a ton of riding experience. If you can hear that noise in the background, we've got another team that is starting the process of prepping. I believe it's Team 12, and they are moving machines around and everything, trying to make sure they have enough room to do what they need to do. a little bit more here from the Iron Dog Garage about Team 22. Trent Johnson is originally from Hayward, Wisconsin. And every year we have probably just making up a percentage, but 80-85% probably of the racers are from Alaska. But we also get a handful of racers every year from states like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maine. There's actually one, I believe, from Nevada this year. And you think it's tough running this race being an Alaskan. Try running the race when you don't even live up here. And sometimes these guys will have different training regimens. Every year, we almost always have at least one team that rides a huge chunk of the trail all the way to Nome, and or they'll ride like sections of the trail over a couple of weekends, kind of getting prepped, understanding snow conditions. Well, how do you do that as a person from out of state? And every team that does this, they tackle that problem a little differently. Sometimes they come up here and they will fly up here, spend 2 or 3 days, on the sled the entire time, and then fly home to do their regular job. None of these guys are professional snow machiners. They have full-time jobs. And so they have to work all this in. And so it's an extremely difficult task to run the Iron Dog as an Alaskan. And it's just extra layers of difficulty for our lower 48ers that come up here and participate. And so it's always great to see. We've had a couple of teams from Canada over the last few years that were great. Back 8-10 years ago, we had Team Maine that brought up a couple of teams and from the Northeast. And it's a really cool thing to see other states like jumping in and putting their hand to the throttle and trying out the Iron Dog. So if you're listening to this but you're not from Alaska, it's possible. So get your stuff together, reach out, start getting some information. You can fly up and ride the trail class maybe for a year to kind of learn the trail, learn the conditions, learn Alaska. And then pro class is only a couple $1,000s past that. So if you're interested, Iron Dog 2026 is coming up before you know it. Sometimes you're the wrencher, sometimes you're the lift. So this is why it's important for there to be 4 guys, because you don't necessarily always have access to the fancy tools and lifts and everything. And it's like you got to get the back of the snow machine up, you got to get the track to the right tension, and so there you go. So human lifts. Now, the back of these snow machines aren't that bad, being 2 strokes. A lot of these are shorter tracks, and so it's not that bad. But you don't want to try this at home with a 4-stroker. I think getting that team, that camera on.
Yeah, when you guys get ready, you can go pick the sled where you want them. And you can.
Race Fans Team 22 is continuing to do their wrench, but we also have another team starting to get ready to go on the clock with their wrenching, and that is Team 12. Team 12. Now, last night we watched these guys do their 15-minute inspection. Team 12, Collins and Wicken, they're currently in 15th place with a course time of 43 hours, 25 minutes, and 32 seconds. And they are one of our Kotzebue-based teams. So we talked a little bit last night about how awesome it is that the race has added the Kotzebue loop. And, you know, racers like Collins and Wicken, you know, that's their home territory. That's their home port. That's where they grew up. And so it's amazing for them, their families, those race fans to have teams in the Iron Dog and be running, but also be able to go through their home community. So, you know, living here in Nome, it's been special for years and years and years. But the Kotzebue Loop that was just recently added allows those communities to have the same joy to see these guys come through and being a part of the race. So just quick as lightning, these guys have gotten their machines turned over, new belts, checking track and adjusting track tension. And those are some of the most common things that happen is new belts and adjusting track tension. So
how's it going today?
pretty good.
You got everything under control?
We do. This is Mike Baxter, Executive Director of Iron Dog, here making sure that the teams are on the clock. He's got one of the official times going for Team 12.
We appreciate you stepping in and doing this for us. Done a great job. And yeah, today should be a busy day with getting these guys ready to go for a release tomorrow and get us home.
Yeah, no, it's a blast to be able to be a little bit of a part of this. And can you tell our fans just a little bit about what they're watching?
Yeah, so today is what's called Wrench Day. So each team has a period after they get here of 15 minutes to inspect their sleds and decide what parts or pieces or things need adjusted or replaced or repaired. And most of the teams take notes or have a note taker taking notes. And then once they take the notes, they go gather up their parts and then come back and schedule a work time. So that's what we're seeing now. Team 12 is doing their work time on the stuff that they found. And then we time them at a start. And for example, should a team take 11 minutes and 32 seconds, that 11 minutes and 32 seconds will get added to their course time. So the faster you can be and the less damage or repairs you got to do, the better off you are when everybody leaves tomorrow.
That's right, and we were just talking earlier about there's only 9 minutes separating our first and second place team. So just because they came in that way doesn't mean they're going to leave that way, depending on how long that they need to take repairs.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. If second place has 1 minute repair and first place has 15 minutes, tomorrow when they leave, second will be in first and first will be in second.
Right. So incredibly important time. And then we've also talked a little bit about how this is the only time on the trail that the teams are allowed to have assistants working on their machines.
Yes, that's exactly correct, for sure. One of the other things that can happen in this session too is if you look at these sleds from where we're sitting and go backwards from where we're sitting, the sleds behind us look like they're in pretty good shape, which even though they're in the back of the field means they have way less repairs to do, and they can move up in the field pretty easy just on wrench time.
Right. It's also kind of crazy how fast these guys work. A couple of years ago, we had a whole upper and a motor pulled apart, replaced a piston, and put it back together. And I think it was like an hour and 8 minutes. And so it's crazy.
Yeah, it's very similar to the version of NASCAR pit stops, really. It's the same thing, just they're working on snow machines.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a great time in Nome. The weather's been really, really good here. Looks like we may have some cloud cover coming in now. I just came in. Looks like it's starting to spit a little bit of snow. So hopefully she doesn't treat us really, really bad here the
Right.
next day or two.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty nice. There was a kind of a wicked north wind as you got close to Nome. Do you know any trail reports from out at the blowhole in Topcock? Was it blowing out there or not too bad?
When Team 5 came in last night, they said, "What the heck are we doing out here?" So I'm going to guess it was blowing pretty good.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So Nome kind of sits down in between two kind of border mountains, and sometimes the wind can be blowing here. You cross Cape Nome, and it's calm out there. Other times it's calm here. You cross Cape Nome, and it's like a hurricane out there. But there's an area about 40-ish miles from Nome that's about 7 miles long called the Blowhole, and it's basically a tunnel that comes off the mountains, and it funnels wind right over to the sea ice. And teams will come out of the mountains from White Mountain and drop down into that blowhole, and it can be 70, 80, 90 mile an hour crosswinds that they're riding through, complete whiteout conditions. Trail stakes are every 25 to 30 yards out there, trying to make sure these guys don't lose the trail. Obviously, a lot of them or all of them will have some kind of GPS, but it's just a miserable time riding a snow machine in sideways 70 mile an hour wind, especially if it gets icy. It can be just brutal out there.
Yeah, it's this is hopefully we don't get there, but the last 2 years I've been stuck here. 2 years ago, stuck here for the whole week.
All right.
And then last year, an extra day. So
yeah,
it looks like we're going to have favorable weather tomorrow for sure. And you hit it on the head. You never know what's going to happen here for sure.
That's right. So lots of racing to go. We've got about 1,400 miles down, about 1,000, 1,500 miles to go, 1,000, 1,100 miles to go. And so these guys have a lot of work to do to make sure these machines can make it back to Big Lake.
Yeah, and I think you kind of hit it on the head about how fast some of this stuff gets done. Not that the front teams are any better than the rear teams, but if you watch the feed today as we get into these front 5 to 10 teams, I would stay glued to it and watch how fast they change some stuff. I know 20, the leaders right now, I know they got a ton of work to do on one sled, but as damaged as it looks, I bet that their repair time is very minimal.
Right, and I've been kind of looking, I love this new feature that the Iron Dog website tracking has, where it has like the fastest split time and things of that nature. And a lot of teams going into Buckland set their fastest split time at average miles per hour of between like 73 and 75 miles an hour. And that's from the front of the field to the back of the field. So it's not necessarily like that the front of the field is able to go 5, 10, 12, 14 miles an hour faster than the back of the field. A lot of it has to do with how clean can they make it from one checkpoint to the next checkpoint. Do they miss a turn? Do they run out of gas? You know, something of that nature.
Yeah, and that's interesting you say that. And then what we call, I don't want to call it home field advantage, but I think if you heard my report yesterday morning, was the teams to watch were 3 and 4, the guys that live here. And if you looked at the leaderboard last night, 3 and 4 made some big moves in their, what I call their backyard. They're used to riding in this stuff.
That's right, and right now we're watching Team 12, you know, and they're from Kotzebue, and so, you know, when you go north from Koyuk, you know, you're getting into the areas that they have historically grown up riding on. We also have a couple of teams, Mike Morgan and Team 4 is a set of rookies, Hugendorn and Bubba McDaniel, that they've grown up racing all over the Seward Peninsula and hunting all over the Seward Peninsula, and so they know these trail conditions better than anybody else.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. We're in their the race is in their backyard now, and looking at their sleds coming north out of country that they're not used to, their sleds look pretty good today.
That's right. So these guys running in the top 10, Team 4's pair of rookies, and have every opportunity to maybe creep up the leaderboard as we get out of here.
Yep. Thanks. I'm going to get back to timing here, but appreciate it, Aaron. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mr. Vassar, Executive Director of Iron Dog 2025. Just want a big shout out to thank you for Mike Vassar, the executive director, for his time. But while we were talking, Team 22 has officially finished their on-the-clock work time, their wrench time, with 19 minutes and 20 seconds. And so they will have 19 minutes and 20 seconds added to their course time. But you know, in 20 minutes, they made all kind of adjustments on the track tension. They changed out carbides. They fixed other parts and pieces on the machine, and all kinds of things. So it's thanks for tuning in to the Gnome City Garage. Team 22 is finished up. Team 12 is still in the middle of wrenching, and we have 18 more teams that we need to schedule wrench time later today. So stay tuned. Okay. 9 minutes, 50 seconds for Team 12. So that's less than 10 minutes on the clock to get all of their parts and pieces onto the machine, changed out that they needed, new windshield, fixed a little bit of the repairs from the crash on one of the sleds. They adjusted track tension on both of them, things like that. So Team 22, Team 12, both done with their wrench time. About 10 minutes for Team 12 and about 20 minutes for Team 22. Stay with us. Iron Dog 2025 live from the Gnome City Garage. Okay, that's good. Not necessarily. But, all right, so that's the camera. You can hold it. Yeah. All right, race fans, we are here with Chris Collins from Team 12, and you just finished your on-the-clock wrench time. Tell us a little bit about what you guys did this morning.
We went ahead and looked at our track tension bolts. We swapped out our belts, tightened up the ball joints under the spindles on both top and bottom. We replaced the windshield, and that was about it.
Yeah, your official time was about 10 minutes, and so were you pretty happy with that time? Felt like you could have done a little faster, or?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, if we had the proper tools like we have back at home, it would have been cut time in half. So.
Right. So we talk a little bit about how the Gnome City Garage, like there are a lot of things here, but you kind of also, none of it's yours. You kind of have to tiled everything.
Right.
What does that process look like of getting a new windshield, getting the right tools?
Yeah, there's a Skidoo dealership here. So fortunate enough, Wilderness Skidoo went ahead and gave us a windshield for that, and also the shop sponsored the tools for that. It wasn't the select tools that I wanted, but it's what we had available.
There you go. So talk a little bit about, you're from Kotzebue. What does it mean to have the race go through Kotzebue now over the last couple of years?
The first time we did it in 2020, it meant a lot then, the first time that happened up in that area. And 2022, making up there again, it was really nice. And this last time going through there, through the region, I just took a minute to absorb everything. You know, I don't know how many more times I may or may not be doing this. And so I want to really enjoy this run and just make a good show of it.
Very cool. So you've run the Iron Dog several times, going back, 2009, 2010?
2013.
2013 was your first year, so you've got over a decade of experience now. After a decade of experience, what surprises you when you hit the trail from this year?
Nothing really. I mean, once you do it a few times, you see the conditions when it's heavy snow or light snow, whether it's wind blown or fresh snow. Once you see it a few times, you kind of just driving the trail, and it all comes natural. Actually,
Okay. So there's been a lot of talk about 75 miles crossing the burn. I know I've heard several people talk about how it's the worst it's been since 2014. What was it like for you guys coming across there?
It tested our patience. You know, after like the 17th or 20th time stopping, I said, well, this is just a fact of life, and everyone's going to have to do this, I imagine. And so we just took our time. Didn't want to cook the engines. It's too early in the race to ruin the engines or anything like that. So we just kind of took our time through there. Obviously, we took too much time trying to baby things, but the engines are still strong.
So, and do you have a plan for how to tackle that going back through it? I actually heard there's a little bit of snow falling, so maybe it won't be quite as bad. But have you guys kind of adjusted your plan on how to get back through there?
Yeah, I think there's a weird thing over there in the burn where it could snow all around it for days and nothing actually drops in the burn. You know, it's known for that. We don't have anything prepared on our sleds to handle it on the return trip, and so we imagine that it's going to take about the same amount of time going back south. Even more so because our sleds have received so much abuse on the trail going north.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for your time, and we'll let you get back at it. You got a lot of things ahead of you today and hitting the trail tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
chasing different pins on the map. And while they may never catch them, it's the thrill of the chase that keeps you going each and every season. It's the evidence in every ride and the adventure in every story. So here's to the next chapter.
The Iron Dog is the world's longest, toughest snow machine race.
2 guys per team, 2 machines. NAC sponsorship level with Iron Dog is huge. It's been a big deal for us for years.
Northern Air Cargo is the largest all-cargo airline in the state of Alaska. NAC supports Iron Dog effectively through movement of freight. The 23 communities that the Iron Dog races through, almost all are exclusively only accessible by air. So that's where NAC comes into play big time. Not only for the race itself, but also during the practice runs.
All of our checkpoint supplies will go through NAC.
Alaska's so diverse and there's no roads going anywhere, so obviously we have to rely on people like NAC, and they've been really amazing to have on the team.
NAC has been huge for us. It's a big deal, and we really appreciate them.
We've just grown the relationship over the years and kind of like a little family now. It's really good. I can't thank them enough, really.
For nearly 70 years, MTA has been connecting Alaskans. We all live here and are invested in the communities we serve.
A lot of snow there.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
We've built our network to evolve and power new solutions, inspired by our members.
I think everything looks good.
Yeah, looks perfect.
So that you can connect to whatever it is that drives you. MTA, life, technology, together.
When I started at LifeMed, I set a vision that we would be safe, sustainable, and leaders in our community. It is critical that LifeMed continues on its journey, providing the highest level of care for all Alaskans across this state. I don't think there is another organization that reaches so many different parts of Alaska on every single day than LifeMed. I'm so proud of the work that we do, and I'm so proud of us being strong community partners in all the places that we go every single day. LifeMed is safe. I don't accept anything that is not safe. We inherently work in an environment that is challenging. Alaskans know firsthand that the places that we live are remote, they are dangerous, the weather will change at any given moment. And for my med crews who go out to save lives in these environments where it could be 40 below or it could be 90 degrees and everything in between, safety is the most important thing. It's the first thing we think of. It's the last thing that we think of before we go. In the aircraft before the flights, the crews say all to say go, one to say no. We value every single person's opinion. We want to make sure that everybody feels safe, that everybody feels comfortable. That is important, and as a team, we encourage everybody to speak up and say something if they don't feel that way, and then we stop and we pause and we evaluate. Safety is critical in this operation. Again, if we are not safe, then we're not successful. Rest assured, when you call LifeMed, it's the only call you'll have to make.
There's nothing else like it. Carving your own trail. Going where no one else has gone before. Best way to get there and back? In your new Ram or Jeep. From Alaska's largest, Anchorage Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Ram, Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and it wasn't even close. Jeep, proven for more than 80 years. Annual Iron Dog Trail sales on. President's Day sales event too. That means extra AI on every great ride. Buy the best from the best. Anchorage Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. See us on East 5th.
Said I'm all about it. Yeah, I'm all about it. Growing up Alaskan makes you, well, a little different. We're an independent bunch, yet we can't get along without each other. We like unique things, and we have unique needs. That's the whole reason we created Club 49, the only travel benefits program made for Alaskans, so you can be you. Alaska Airlines Club 49.
The Iron Dog is a proud leader in the snow machine community. Iron Dog's programs and impacts extend far beyond racing and riding in Alaska, with programs like Helmet Safety and Make It Run. The 2025 raffle is the biggest ever, with over $140,000 in prizes. Prizes include a Ram Bighorn truck, a Polaris Boost, and much more. Tickets are just $60 each, or two or more for $50 each, and supports the world's longest, toughest snow machine race and community program. Purchase online at irondog.org. Alaska Gaming Permit 166002.
Whether you blaze trails on wheels or on skis, whether you blaze trails on wheels or on skis, you know what it takes to get where you're going. At First National, we deliver proven local expertise. We go the extra mile with high-performance digital tools. And we put it all right at your fingertips. First National Bank Alaska. 100 years shaping tomorrow.
I'm gonna go try to build a box, an open box, cut out bottom, with the wind jacket, so we can just fucking clear it up with snow and ice. That sounds real good. I'm gonna go cut a fat stuff up. Call me when you go to the house. Call me if you need anything.
airports, I saw you were like 6 coming in the morning. I thought, oh shit.
Oh no, we took a layover. You gotta look at the course time.
Yeah, no, I just there's a rival time or something. So
Yeah.
gave me a.
Yep.
I was worried. Anyway.
Yeah. We took a layover and caught an hour layover, and that's why we came in a little bit.
You're doing great.
Yeah. Hey Bradley.
worked for a little bit, which gave me a little false hope. But when it didn't fucking work, I'm like, oh shit. Then I'm just like thinking, how could I mount the brake? Like mount it on the outside of the bar. I thought about doing that, flipping it back over, but then I didn't know if it was long enough. I just went slow, go faster. You can see fucking brutal. Most brutal part was when we got to like outside of White Mountain, fucking wind was
somebody was going to go mark the hole, though. So that was pretty wow. Yeah, what it, I gotta get some gas out. If you leave them in the tin, they break.
Well, I had a pouch that I packed completely
Hey, Mike.
that I just kept right here.
Do you guys have a volunteer in Koya who could go mark that hole that me and Ashley and Tyler all wrecked on? Or you can make a call. I mean, I just thought maybe it'd be a good idea. I mean, 4 teams wrecked there. 3 of us were in the hospital last night. I mean, there was so many hazards marked along the way that it was like I got a false sense. I mean, it was my own fault. I'm just saying. If we could.
Leaving or going in?
All right, Iron Dog race fans, welcome back to the 2025 Iron Dog longest, toughest snow machine race in the world. 2,500 grueling miles from Big Lake to Kotzebue to Nome and back to Big Lake. But we are here in Nome, live at the Gnome City Garage, and it is wrench day. And what does that mean? It means that the teams bring their snow machines into the garage, let them thaw out, let them warm up, get all the ice and everything out from underneath them. Then they're allowed to take a 15-minute inspection time that most of these teams, I believe every team has finished that. It is the only time that they're on the machines or being able to look at things without it being on the clock. And so they do all kinds of inspections, take notes, then they go get their parts, pieces, tools, and everything together. And when they come back to work on the machines, that is on the clock. And so the only other unique part here is that Gnome City Garage is the only place where they're allowed to have 2 helpers. And so you have the 2 main racers and 2 helpers working on the machine at the same time. Again, everywhere else and at all other times in the race, only the 2 racers are allowed to touch the machine. So we've got Team 26, and they are starting to get the machines ready to do their work. Just as kind of a broadcasting note, we've got a switch coming up in the live feed here at 11:50, give or take a minute. And so if you're watching the feed, it will finish up about 11:50 and just load the new feed and continue to enjoy the coverage live from the Gnome City Garage. Again, we're here with Team 26. They came in and they already did their 15-minute inspection earlier today, so that was a super quick turnaround from their inspection time to now they are getting final instructions from one of the marshals, kind of making sure they understand what they can or can't do and how this process goes. They've got their tools laid out. I see some suspension pieces, maybe some new scratchers in the back, a new wheels for the tracks I see laid out. A lot of times, almost every team will of course change the main belt. They will check track tension and adjust that. Most of the time they put new carbides on. So those are kind of some of the standard things that all teams do. And then depending on what they found in their inspection, they may also have some other work to do. So far, I haven't really heard of any massive motor troubles from the teams, but stay tuned. We'll see if anybody dives into that. So Team 26 is getting ready to start. And there they go. On the clock, wrench time. So this is Gossett and Gossett. And so one of our lady riders, Hillary Gossett, and these guys are on Polaris Cross Country 600s, and Tim Gossett. And so for Tim, this is only his second time running. Last year he was a rookie and finished. And Hillary ran in 2023 as part of the all-female team that finished that year. And so now they're back together, though, after each of them running the race once on their own. And so really cool to have them running together this year. Last year, Tim Gossett finished in place 7 and was top rookie. So this year, they came into Nome in 11th place with a course time of 38 hours and 32 minutes. And they are a couple of hours out of a top 10, but that can easily be made up with running clean and having a quick time here in the Gnome City Garage and running clean. It's easy for another team to have an issue and these guys get back into the top 10. So it's still a long race and lots can happen. It is a couple hours in front of them, but they've got 4 teams, about 3 hours ahead of them on the clock. And so if any of those teams start having issues, that takes some time, they take a wrong turn, run out of gas, anything like that, and these guys will definitely be back in the top 10. So right now we see them adjusting the track tension, and looks like at least on one of the machines they're working on the clutch. And so a lot of times changing belts, tightening up the clutch, things like that are pretty standard. So we talked earlier about how these teams have 2 extra people here in Nome that can help them work on the machines. And so it looks like the Gossetts are focused on one machine, and then they have 2 helpers. One of the helpers is Chris Holtz. And so it is, you'd be hard pressed to find a better Chris Holtz has well over a decade of experience in the Iron Dog, multiple wins, tons and tons of top 5 finishes, podiums, and was sidelined this year, him and his partner, being able to run the race, but everyone's looking forward to them being back and being in contention for a podium next year. So, but he's here, he's helping out, and doing everything he can to be a part of the Iron Dog family that he is a leader in, really. So really cool to see him helping out Team 26 here in the Gnome City Garage. So just a quick reminder for programming here in a couple of minutes. The feed from the Gnome City Garage will switch to a new live feed. And so make sure you click on the new one, and you'll be right back with us to watch Team 26. And looks like some of our teams in the top 5 up here are kind of showing up and getting some things ready. So the garage will be picking up business over the next couple of hours. So stay tuned. Thank you. Iron Dog 2025.